The current conflict between Israel and Iran is an important development which may not be very very good for us. Production-linked incentive scheme has done well, because if you look at the 14 sectors, there are 2 or 3 sectors where it has done very well, and there are 2 or 3 other sectors where it has done as well as can be expected on average, and there are some sectors where improvements are still awaited. But overall, if you look at a portfolio approach, I think out of 14, if you have 5 to 6 sectors which have done either reasonably well or exceedingly well, that is a very, very good achievement, because it has improved our sense of Atmanirbharta in many sectors. Now, from nothing, today we are exporting between 10 and $15 billion worth of mobile phones from nothing. And then we have been able to create domestic capacity in several product areas, in renewable energy, in solar energy. And we have created domestic manufacturing capability and the entire supply chain for air conditioner manufacturing. And we are clawing back the market share in active pharma ingredients. So there are very good success stories within the PLI, and I think it was an important policy initiative, because it focused minds on what we need to do to be able to become a forceful manufacturing, to have a forceful manufacturing presence in the world. Even after the Russia-Ukraine conflict, India managed to strike a middle path and ensure that India got enough crude oil supply. I think we don't give full credit to what the Indian government could do in those 3 years. Since 2022, our diplomacy and our petroleum ministry, the efforts of Honorable Prime Minister and External Affairs Minister and different ministries in making sure that India's energy supply never got affected by the Russia-Ukraine crisis. So one of the important things we do is to, because we are a trusted and we don't have a trusted country, and we don't have any axe to grind, and we are seen as therefore a good mediator. I think all countries want to make sure that they get India's goodwill, and that is an important strength for India in the current situation. The second thing India is trying to do on the economic front, of course, is to use the current developments on trade, etc., to reduce import duties on raw materials, intermediate goods, so that our own domestic cost of manufacturing is going down. And we have also opened up in the last several years several sectors for foreign investment, whether it is drones, defense, space, and now insurance for 100% investment, nuclear technology, etc. This is the time to therefore attract investors into India, and we are doing that. And the third thing we are also doing is to use the current global situation to make our investments in education, in skilling, in critical minerals. We are part of the Global Critical Minerals Partnership. So we are using the current global situation. That is how the mobile phone manufacturing has made a big transition to India in the last 3-4 years. So I think India is trying to navigate this very difficult situation and create a certain niche space for itself in several areas, so that India becomes an important presence, not just in manufacturing but also in services. The current conflict between Israel and Iran is an important development which may not be very very good for us, because what it has done is, in the last 1 week or so, the price of crude oil has gone up to almost $73, $74 per barrel. It was in the low 60s. We were hoping that it would go below 60, because OPEC countries were looking to increase production for the 3rd time in July. So this obviously raises important risks for India in the crude oil price increase, if it sustains. But remember, in 2022, when the Russia-Ukraine war started, crude oil price went above $100 per barrel. And yet the Indian economy was able to sustain a 7% growth rate. It lasted, that crude oil price increase lasted only about 3 to 4 months before it started coming down. So a lot depends on how much the crude oil price rises further and how long that period of increase lasts. Otherwise, it may not be consequential, although it is an important thing to watch out for. The tariff, as far as the tariffs are concerned, it need not necessarily be against India's interests. Because ultimately what matters is also what tariff rates other countries, that India's competing countries, will get eventually. So right now I think it will be premature to say that the tariffs make our exports difficult, because we are always competing with other countries. Therefore, what is the tariff impact on all the countries and on India on a comparative basis, that is what will determine whether it is harmful to us or beneficial to us. The Reserve Bank of India also put out India's growth estimate. We are doing quite well. The global context has become very uncertain, very difficult. Both political and economic conditions have become unfavorable for growth. And more than that, there is a lot of uncertainty, which means investors would wait to put money on the ground. Given all of these situations, I think Indian economy has maintained a good growth rate in 24-25 and at 6.5%, and 25-26. Yes, we have estimated it to be between 6.3 and 6.8%. So the Reserve Bank of India has estimated its forecast at 6.5%. 6.5% for some people may look like it's a lower number compared to what we did in 21-22, 22-23 and 23-24. But we must remember that it is not just the actual growth rate alone we should take into account. We should also look at our growth difference compared to other countries. So if you look at the average growth rate of developed economies, the difference between India's growth rate and that average growth rate is much higher now than it was even between 2003 and 2008, when we were growing at 8 to 9%. So every single percentage or a percentage point of growth matters much more today, and therefore to be able to achieve 6.5% on a steady basis in this environment is actually a very creditable achievement, and India is poised to maintain that track record, and our job is to try and improve that number to above 7% in the coming years.
So how can India maintain this momentum?
Yeah.
Amid this drawback?
So first of all, the first step to do is to ensure that because this government came out with very, very important policy measures in the last two budgets since coming back to office in July 2024 and in January 2025, both the budgets touched upon several aspects of the Indian economy, whether it is energy transition, climate resilience, electric vehicles, battery storage, education, skilling, internship, creating National Research Development Fund, and then announcing agricultural mission, edible oil mission, and the national manufacturing mission. We opened up the insurance sector. So several important policy announcements and decisions were announced in the last two budgets, and the important thing is to just implement those announcements as quickly as we can. And we also said we will open up nuclear energy for private sector in the coming years, also inviting foreign investment. In all these areas, if we are able to move faster and convey a sense of dynamism, then I think the chances are very high that we will not only sustain the current growth rate, but we will be able to even improve on it in the coming years.